So welcome so much our viewers and to this segment about tunaita Beyond the Headlines. We are always here to discuss and to see what has been happening and just to discuss to have a discussion in a nutshell. And we are very glad today to have our analyst. Unajua kuna title mingi sana.
Mingi zaidi. Jinsi majina yangu yalivyo mengi.
Karibu to the show.
Asante bwana Kimodho.
Watazamaji.
Thank you sana bwana Kimodho. Yes. I'm happy, I'm glad to be at Mizpah Tv.
Yes.
Delighted this morning owing to the good weather that our Jehovah God has given to us.
Yes.
The gift of life.
Yes.
And of course, the calmness in the country in this particular morning.
Yes. Yeah.
Glad as well. I've seen how Nakuru is developing.
Okay.
The last time I used this route to Mizpah, maize was this high, but nobody could see me as I was dropping to this station because now the maize plantations have overgrown.
Yes.
Yes, I cannot be seen. And I'm very glad that we expect a bumper harvest this year.
Yeah.
God has been very gracious to us. He's given us rain.
Yeah.
And very good weather for the crops.
Okay. So we are very grateful for everything.
Thank you.
So karibu sana.
Shukran.
So much has been happening to our nation. Tumekuwa tukiona things to do with abductions. Tumekuwa tukiona what happened now to to the blog ambao alireappear, the sudden death of the mask vendor.
Yes.
Tuliona pia mambo ya Albert Ojwang, the reaction ambayo ilikuwa pale wakati the body ilikuwa inapelekwa kule nyumbani.
True.
And at the same time pia tuliweza kuona kuna hii sheria ambayo iliweza kuwekwa pale. Na that is a women rep na pia tukoona that is our ICT.
Sure.
ICS respond to what happening.
Exactly.
Na pia tumekuwa tukiangalia some bit of politics. Tumeona that is the opposition.
That is it.
The so-called opposition. Kwa sababu bado
the opposition now led by Rigiji.
Kuna Rigiji, kuna Kalonzo, kuna Eugene Wamalwa. So much of those things we are going to have a discussion on them.
Thank you.
But we can start with what has been happening. And it is very sad that every day tunaona the headlines ambazo ziko pale, abduction
very
and so
sad
much.
Headlines.
So maybe we can start and discuss on the adoption, especially now what happened now to this anaitwa Diangui, who is a software developer.
Exactly.
Yes.
I think bwana Kimodho, to kick it off, first of all is to acknowledge the sentiments that were sent by our governor yesterday when she was attending some burial at Kwarait in Njoro, where he really appealed to Kenyans, especially Nakurians, at this particular time when emotions are running high, that we maintain peace. By all means, we maintain peace.
Okay.
And you see, when we have peace, when you have harmony, when you have security, investors have a haven in our county.
Yeah.
Just recently, I joined the Finsco Africa CEO, Bwana Mwaura, who has been celebrated among as the 10 most dependable CEOs in real estate.
Okay.
And he's putting up some holiday homes called Bliss Water Park, holiday homes in Naivasha.
Okay.
And he was telling me, why not for peace? He wouldn't have put such a structure.
Yeah.
He was appreciating the peace and also the kind of treatment he has received from the county government of Nakuru, because he has really appreciated once he got the go ahead to start the construction. Now hundreds of youths are having their jobs up there.
Wow.
But
that's nice.
Despite all that, we are having a lot of calamities around us. I wish to condole with some families. Up there in Ladan Ward, we've lost 2 guys. We have lost father to Bwana Edu and also a lady to Fraviana Onchami, Fabrizia Onchami. I wish to condole with the 2 families.
Okay.
As we look at what is happening in the country, Diangui just reappeared.
Yeah, he reappeared.
Having shaven his hair, looking a little bit shaken. Who knows? We are yet to know. I hope he will do a statement, and from the statement we will be able to get what exactly is happening. If he abducted himself, shame on him. If he was abducted, shame on the abductors, because at this particular time and juncture, we need some calmness in the country. We need to give some mood in the country that will allow even the leadership of the country to sit down and evaluate on how they are going to better our economy, because all this is being brought up by the hardships that we are going through. This kind of youth that you seeing here, this a young man. He's graduated in is it IT? He's a software engineer.
Yes.
He needs a job. He needs to get a meaningful engagement. had he been in some meaningful engagement, I don't think he would be blogging the kind of blogs that he is fearing for his life.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have not seen his blogs. I've not seen what he has been blogging about.
Yeah.
But all we are saying is, since 2015, Bwana Kimotho, our economy has been on a downward trend.
Yeah.
And what is happening is that our colleges, our universities are dispensing quite a number of youth into the job market.
Yeah.
Say 1 million every year.
Every year.
So you can imagine 2015 to 2025, we are talking about 10 million people. Out of all that, only 850,000 have gotten formal engagement with the government.
Okay.
The 9 million that are left outside here are the ones you see now. They are Kinadiangois, the Kimothos and the Kimanis here. We are not youth anymore. But those hardships that are being brought about by the joblessness need to be harnessed in a better manner. Our parents now need to, not our parents, it's us now and our kids. We need to get closer to our kids and direct their anger elsewhere. We need to direct their energies elsewhere. I'm hopeful that with the kind of agriculture engagement that we are getting into, and especially if we get into mechanized agriculture, we're going to get these youths better engagement. But as things start, we really need some help, and even from the government. They need to cultivate an atmosphere where investors can come in large numbers and absorb some of these youth. We are not happy when we see the Albert Ojwang kind of scenario. Albert Ojwang died in a police station.
Yeah.
We saw what happened yesterday in we said where go somewhere in Homa Bay.
Yes.
Had not seen such a police station before. It was not well done. We need better structures for the police station. We don't need a police station where a single matchstick can set the whole station ablaze. But again, I listened to some of the mourners there.
Okay.
And I could hear somebody from the background. I was watching this from the social media.
Okay.
And somebody was saying, if Albert Ojwang banged his head on the walls of the cell, a matchbox has also found its way into the police station. I think we really need to analyze the situation and get to the bottom of all this. This is a young man, Albert Ojwang. He was a teacher. He was having a young family. The pain that is associated with his death, his brutal death in a police station, has not only affected his family, but the entire Homa Bay and the entire country at large. And if this is not well harnessed, if this is not well taken care of, we are seeing the kind of escalations that are manifesting. Touching of a police station. That by itself shows that we have gone back to the years whereby where Kenyans had a lot of animosity between them and the police officers. We need to change that. How do we change that? Possibly with the kind of engagements that we have seen cultivated by some of our NGOs like Mid-Rift Harinet, where they bring together police officers and Kenyans and civilians together in some training, some coaching, such that they get to engage each other and get to understand each other better, and even the kind of working environment that these police officers find themselves in. We also need to look at our emotional intelligence. Both the Raya and even the police themselves. We need to handle our emotions differently. We also need to be cautious, especially those who are in leadership positions. The kind of utterances that we make, where we make them, the kind of target audience makes a total difference. Because I need not to refer to the kind of sentiments that we have heard from some of the leaders, because those who do not hear them will get angered from the remarks coming from myself.
You now.
So, but it is good, it's imperative upon all of us who are in leadership positions to watch our tongues during this particular time.
It is a good solution that you have given unto us, but we have one thing that is common to each and every person, despite the position and any other thing, it's called the Constitution, because the Constitution gives guidelines to how the police should act, to how the Mwananchi should behave, to how the leader should behave. And it is very unfortunate that the target now is now on the social media, because unlike what we have been seeing, we have been seeing seen incitement from the leaders directly, saying things direct from themselves, in public forums, giving incitement statements. And yet now these young people, how they are doing, they're trying now to air out their voices, to air out now their issues on the social media. Then there was also another question now, who is now inflating the other? Because these people are giving their views on their own platform, their own user accounts. So when you come now inside their user account and you say now they have done this and this and this, so I think it's high time that we also need now to improve on our laws. We do have now on the arresting officers to be educated, on all our officers to be educated on the issue now concerning now the issue of internet usage and any other usage that is there. Also, we also need to come out on the issue of what the Constitution says, because it's very unlawful to hold a person more than 24 hours before arraigning that person to court. It's also very unlawful to act on anything that might affect the health of that person, because you're supposed now to bring that person in good health in front of a judge, so that he can, then the judge can do now the judgment, so he can ably represent himself or get representation, legal representation. I think you're right when you talk about the Constitution. If we were all to observe whatever is in our Katiba 2010, we would have avoided much of this. And it is one of the best. Albert Ojwang just got to the police station in Awego in Homa Bay, just next to the neighborhood. Got read his charges, possibly get an advocate or present himself, get to the nearest court, have himself challenged. I think we would have avoided all this. But now look, the number of demonstrations we have had in Nairobi, additional deaths that have resulted from that. We have lost another hawker. Dying because you are poor, dying because you trying, just because you are trying to make a living. I think we are losing it as a country. But if we go back to our Constitution, if you observe all the laws and be law-abiding citizens, we will have avoided all this. Again, the other thing is, and I've observed this, Bwana Kimotho, the law should apply equally to all of us. No one is above the law. One of the things that our youth are angry about is that the law is not being applied to all of us equitably, or rather equally. Because you'll find that somebody who is wealthy, somebody who is well-to-do, somebody who holds a position somewhere will be treated differently by the same law, differently from one who is downtrodden, who is the employer, who has actually employed these particular fellas. So I think if we become law-abiding citizens, we'll avoid all this kind of hulabaloo, all this kind of damages, all this kind of property loss and life loss. And concerning now those issues, because you have seen now all these may rise to demonstration. We saw now women representative, because the women representative wanakuwa kule bunge. They also have a say in parliament. So we saw one of women representative from Nairobi, Esther Pasari. She presented her bill. But this is not the first time the bill has been presented. The other time it was presented by the former MP, that is it Roko, who is now the CS. And so they, but it did not see the light of the day. But now it has come back on another angle. And remember, we still have the broad-based government. So the other time it was coming now from one side of the KK government. Now this side now is coming now from the other part of the broad-based government. But we have seen so much composed now on the bill, saying that we need now to have a law and guidance on restricted areas. That is the courts, police station, that is a state house, and other arms of government. And it can also say the the distance itself. And also we also saw that there was also now the speculation of the crowd itself. And a bit wakasoma 100, but kakrelfa is 200. So it was very interesting, because sometimes there are streets, especially kuja hapa Kaptembo. Ukiangalia kwa barabara, watu ambao wanatembea pale, there are more than 200. The same thing that happens even in Kariobangi, Githurai. There are so many people ambao wanatembea more than 300. So will you call those people demos? They are not demos. It's just a normal day for them. So will you call it that those people, they are planning to do something? So I think we are trying to modify the law to suit the leadership of the day, which is wrong. Bwana Kimotho, because tell me, how are they going to work with the tape measure?
meters? Are they going to
don't know how they're going
measure
to
the distances from? Who is calling these areas restricted? These areas, State House, Parliament, belong to Kenyans. You cannot restrict them. Yes, those areas are protected, but they belong to Kenyans. They do not belong to a specific cadre and class of people. Furthermore, today, the thorn, or rather the shoe, is pinching those who are in government, the Kenya Kwanza government.
Yes.
Just the other day, we had Rigathi Gachagua in government, accusing Raila Amolo Odinga of conducting demos in Nairobi. Today, he is on the receiving end. He's actually being kind of accused of being part of these demos and their organization, and even
the same way he was accusing the other people.
That is it. So let's have the law as it is. Let's not try to modify the law so that it can suit those who are in leadership today. Tomorrow they will be outside the leadership, and they will have issues with the government that will be there running the affairs of the country. And probably they will also require to picket and demonstrate so that the government can listen to them. Let us not modify the law to suit those who are in office.
But something interesting with the law, it was only concentrating on the buildings. It was not concentrating on the life of the people.
Exactly.
That is inclusive of those who are in demonstrating, those who are not demonstrating, who are there in their normal ways of adhering.
And
also at the same time, the law doesn't now consist of how do you handle the goons.
That is it.
Because we saw the goons, they were being being planned by certain
some of them were walking. I don't know whether it was for their safety. They were walking along the police officers.
So you can
carrying rungus, the officers carrying guns. I consider the two weapons, but one is a legal weapon. The other one was an illegal weapon. So it didn't bring a very good picture. And like you're saying, does the law now consider anything to do with the presence of the goons, how the goons themselves should behave,
human life,
should they break into doors, and what should happen? Should the officers stand in front of shops so that they can protect property? Should the officers come with some we saw them the kind of a chain link that was used the other time? Could they be walking with the chain links along the queue, along the demonstrators from both sides? I think let's not modify the law. That's my statement.
We need to have a lot of discussion because the law is good. Just now to protect those people now who are doing the right thing, and those who are now coming out to take the advantage of the situation. So it needs now to be looked broadly, not just discussio tu haraka harafu ipitishwe.
But again, Bwana Kimotho, while still at that, it's good that we challenge our youth. Destruction of property does not equal demonstration. We are not. We do. Even those who created this law. When they were demonstrating, I remember the James Orengos, the Kiraitu Murongis. They were not destroying properties.
No, they were not.
Raila Amolo Odinga was part of that. They were not destroying properties. All they wanted is to be heard. So they could carry placards. They could shout. They could use loudspeakers, and they would come with their petitions and hand in their petitions. But today, we've seen touching of a fire brigade vehicle here in Molo. We've seen county vehicles burnt in Olkalao. And I may not say I'm happy to see some youth having been charged in court, but it's good for people to be responsible. Whatever they are doing, let's coach our youth. But once you are 18, the law should coach you. You cannot say that you do not know what is entrenched into the law once you are 18 years old. So let it be a lesson to those who are going to demonstrate. I hear there are some more demonstrations on the Sabasaba. Let us not destroy property. Why don't they take slashers and slash maize plantations that belong to their parents? Why don't they slash their livestock? Why don't they touch their own homesteads? Why are they touching public properties that are purchased, constructed by our own taxes? One thing that I don't know whether it escapes them when they are demonstrating in a mob. When you are in mob, you think you are hiding. But I thank the previous administration. It mounted CCTV cameras almost everywhere. And specific people could be seen, could be cited doing this kind of shenanigans. And I'm appealing to our youth. Please, as you go to picket, as you go to demonstrate, do not destroy property. Raise your voices. Shout. If you want to insult, but you'll be held responsible. Let's not go beyond whatever is meant to be in picketing and demonstrating.
To echo those words, because we know now they are planning now to do it because Sabasaba is on Monday. Let us be responsible, even if now we want to air out our voices, and also make sure you have a target.
That is it.
You know, document whatever now you want to say. Present it either to the parliament.
What are your petitions?
Yeah, present it to anywhere else that you need to present yourself to.
Exactly.
And also you can also demonstrate by, you know, you can gather yourself somewhere, air out your views.
That is
you know, and people will listen to you, because when you do those distractions, no one will know what you wanted to say.
That
no one will know. And still concerning on that. We saw our CS the other time wakati kulikuwa na demonstration. They shut down, you know, some of the TV stations. Na wakasema ile the live broadcasting of whatever has been happening should not be done. Na tukaona one of the TV station ikikuwa shut down. And since now we are nearly now on the same of the Sabasaba. We saw now what the CS ambaye aliweza kusema. And na it was very interesting because alisema now, you know, on that day kulikuwa bado na watoto ambao walikuwa wana, so he was preventing children from seeing, you know, all those things, but he was asked whose mandate is it?
It is not his mandate. Bwana Kabogo, that's not your mandate. Leave it to the lawmakers. We have parliamentarians, we have representation elected by Wanjiko into parliament who are supposed to be looking at what you are talking about. If it is modifying the laws, if it's creating more laws, let it be the reserve of the parliamentarians. Let it don't just wake up one day and try to create your own laws. No, Bwana CS hapo. Furthermore, Bwana Kimotho, I think the kind of media freedom that we are enjoying today is also life-saving. I saw a scenario whereby, was it CNN, CNN or BBC? There were some youth who had been battled together into a corridor that was saturated with this, with tear gas. And we are not sure that those people could not have been clobbered to death. Were it not for the coverage, the media coverage that highlighted that particular issue. And kudos to even the international media personnel who we saw there trying to calm down and tell the police, no, let this particular youth move from this corridor and get to a safer area. I think that kind of freedom is what our dear grandfathers and forefathers fought for, and we should be captivated going forward.
Because also the coverage, the coverage that was there, that is why now we were able to see what happened to Boniface. That is karaoke. So kama haingekuwa live, we could have been told of something else and so many other things. The same likes of so many other people ambao tunaweza kuangalia pale.
It's good that you have highlighted that issue of Boniface karaoke. I had Charles Owino. He was formerly a police spokesperson. Charles Owino claimed that Boniface karaoke insulted the police, and he said that was covered on media. I think that was improper, that everybody was watching, and it's good that it was brought to us live. Had it happened elsewhere, I think we would have been told that no, even Karaoke Boniface shot himself or banged his head along the corridors, the streets of Nairobi.
So all we are saying is that everyone to observe the constitution.
That is it.
Let us love also one another. So as we wind up, tumekuwa tukiona opposition that is being led by so many other leaders. That is we have seen that is Kalonzo Musyoka, Eugene Wamalwa, that is Gachagua. We also pia tuliona Matiang'i, and recently tulimwona kwa on an interview, and so many other leaders that is anatembea na wengine wako pale. So what is your comment or what is our reaction?
Well, there is a lot of excitement in the opposition, an excitement that I would like to tell our youth, it's not the first time this is happening. We had Martin Shikuku doing it during the 90s. We had Kenneth Matiba doing the same. We had Mwai Kibaki when he resigned from cabinet. This is not the first time we are having an opposition in Kenya. But let us all behave responsibly. Wherever we go, let's behave responsibly. Opposition should be objective. Let us not imagine that this is the most painful regime. No, I've been telling you from 2015 onwards, we have had a very painful moment, and the opposition is there. Let it oppose the government of the day objectively. And I'm very glad, Bwana Kimotho, as we wind up. The other time we went to State House, and our governor presented petitions to the president. And I'm glad that just the other week, last week, the county secretary was moving around with the KDF They went to Afraha Stadium.
Okay.
They went to Trauma Center.
Okay.
They visited the areas that the president guided and instructed them. Go and help the county government of Nakuru. So we have a responsible government.
Okay.
So as the opposition does its opposing or opposition, let it do it objectively. Yes.
So thank you so much, and we are very glad that at least now we have given a simple, highlight of what has been happening to our nation. Let us remember that we should be responsible of ourselves. We should be responsible of the other person. We should also be responsible to our nation in everything that we need to do. We should also think of what now will happen to the future. Let us not, destroy our future just, in fear of us that we are due to excitement that has been there. So due now to we are winding up.
Yes.
Nitaambia
Wakenya kwa jumla tuweke amani popote tulipo, na tukue responsible. For the parents, speak, whisper to your sons and the daughters. Yes, they are grieved. Wameumwa, economy ni baya. Wameona ulikuwa unaleta kilo ya nyama, siku hizi unakuja na kakuota unaleta maharagwe badala ya nyama. But all in all, let's behave responsibly, let's love our country, and hatuna nchi nyingine. Na tuache kuandika vitu kwa mitandao ambavyo zinaumiza jamii zingine. Let's live in harmony, let's cultivate peace and peaceful coexistence, especially here in Nakuru.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kimani, for coming and giving your views. We are very grateful, even for what you are doing, and also to our nation, and especially now to our county. So thank you so much, our viewers, for joining us. This was Beyond the Headlines. Have a blessed weekend. Thank you so much.